The Teutoburg forest was a place of ghosts. 13 years had passed since the great disaster, but the land had not forgotten. The trees grew so close together their branches locked out the sun, casting a perpetual twilight over the forest floor. Mists clung to the ancient oaks, refusing to burn away even at midday. The silence was heavy, filled with unspoken things, a tomb where sorrow and anger lingered. This was Germania Magna, the wild country beyond the Rhine, where Rome's ambitions had been shattered. Now, in 22 AD, a Roman squad returned, not for conquest, but to investigate the dark rumors that bled from the forest's edge. Tales of spectral soldiers, ghostly eagles, and a curse that held an army captive between life and death haunted the empire. Centurion Decimus Varro led the small squad, boots sinking into the black soil, feeling the forest watching him. Every snap of a twig sounded like a warning. Doubt crept into his heart as the suffocating quiet pressed in. The path was barely a path, an old Roman road, nearly swallowed by wilderness. Moss covered the stones, hiding the marks of Roman chisels. They passed the skeletal remains of a forgotten watchtower, a gravestone for an army and an empire's dream. The forest was reclaiming its own, erasing the memory of Rome with terrifying finality. The land waited, holding its breath, as Rome returned to face its ghosts. Centurion Decimus Varro was forged in Roman order, his face a map of hard-won campaigns. He came not for glory, but to end the whispers that haunted his family since the Varian disaster. Beside him walked Lucilla, a scholar from a noble house, sent to document the alleged curse. Her knowledge of Germanic lore unsettled the soldiers. Gracchus, the grizzled Optio, had seen the aftermath of the disaster. He believed the stories, watching the trees with wary vigilance. Their guide was Eric, a captive Cherusi warrior, offered freedom in exchange for leading the Romans to the site. He warned them they were fools to tread on sacred ground. The squad was a collision of worlds, Roman discipline, scholarly curiosity, and Germanic defiance. As the mist thickened, Varro called a halt. "We should know who we march beside," he said, his tone less formal than before. And he looked around at the faces in the gloom. "I'll start. Decimus Varro, Centurion. I was born in Rome, but the legions have been my home for 20 years. I have a wife and 2 sons waiting for me, if the gods are kind."
Lucilla Severina, scholar, daughter of Senator Severinus. I prefer scrolls to swords, but I know more about curses than most priests. I hope to see my brother again when this is over.
Alias Gracchus, Optio. I grew up in the shadow of the old legions, lost friends in the disaster. I don't trust these woods, but I trust my sword. No family left, just the legion.
Eric Cheruski. I was a hunter before the Romans came. Now I walk with chains. If I get out of this alive, I want to see my village again. But I doubt the forest will let any of us go.
Scout. I watch the trees and I listen. My father taught me to track before the army took me. I just want to make it home in one piece.
For a moment, the squad felt less like strangers and more like comrades, each with their own ghosts. Gracchus's loyalty was absolute, but fear lived in his eyes. Eric's clipped warnings were a constant reminder. They were intruders in a land that despised them. Together, they pressed deeper into the haunted woods, each step a test of courage and conviction. The forest closed in, indifferent to their purpose. After 2 days, they found the first sign of the lost legions, a ruined outpost, a skeleton of rotting wood and earthworks. The main gate was smashed, the air stale with the scent of old blood. Varro ordered a search.
By the gods, look at their faces, Lucilla whispered, kneeling beside the preserved officers. They died in terror, not battle.
I've never seen bodies kept like this, Gracchus muttered, voice low. No rot, no animals. It's as if the forest itself is afraid.
It feels wrong to even breathe here, Lucilla said, glancing at Gracchus. Like the air itself is watching us.
Stay close, Gracchus replied, his hand tightening on his sword. Whatever did this might still be near.
Lucilla traced the rune carved into the leathery flesh. A Germanic symbol. Binding. Maybe a curse. This was no ordinary slaughter.
There are more bodies by the watchtower, Gracchus called out, voice echoing in the silence. They made a last stand here.
No sign of the enemy, Eric said, scanning the mist. Only our own, untouched. Even the wolves keep away.
Good tracks vanish at the tree line, the scout reported quietly. It's as if nothing ever left.
Or nothing dared, Eric muttered, glancing at the silent woods.
There were no enemy dead, only Romans. untouched by scavengers. The forest had become their tomb. The scene painted a terrifying picture. A swift, brutal attack, followed by an unnatural stillness that had lasted for over a decade. The curse was more than legend. It was written in the very flesh and bones of the fallen. The squad felt the weight of history pressing down, the forest silence now a warning. They realized they were not just investigating a mystery. They were trespassing on sacred ground. The dead were waiting.
You do not understand. This was not just a battle. It was a ritual. Arminius betrayed Varus and the land itself was stained.
Some Germanic tribes believe a great betrayal creates a spiritual wound. The curse was born from the despair of your own soldiers, trapped by their sense of dishonor. Their spirits became anchors for the magic here, bound to this forest, reliving their defeat for eternity.
The curse was in the very air. As night fell, the squad huddled together, their faces drawn and anxious. They checked their weapons, whispered prayers, and tried to light small flickering fires for warmth, though the cold seemed to swallow every spark. Some men sharpened blades with trembling hands, while others kept watch, eyes darting to every shadow. The mood was tense, every sound in the forest making them flinch. Whispers slithered through the trees, Latin commands twisted by pain and fury. The men heard their own names called from the darkness, voices both familiar and wrong. The forest was sentient, a living entity hosting thousands of tormented souls. The undead legionaries were not mindless. They moved in silent, phantasmal formations, armor ethereal, eyes glowing with cold fire. They guarded the site of their shame, attacking any living Roman who dared intrude. These were the ghosts of the 17th, 18th, and 19th legions, forever marching in their own private hell. The squad realized the curse was not just a story. It was a prison, and they were surrounded by its jailers. The forest's anger was alive, and it would not let them go easily. The living and the dead were now bound by the same fate. The only way out was through the heart of the curse. The night pressed in, and the dead began to stir. Tension grew within the squad as the reality of the curse closed in.
This is madness. We are Romans, masters of the world. There must be a logical cause.
Your roads and aqueducts mean nothing to the spirits here, Centurion. Their power comes from belief, not stone. You call it superstition because you do not understand it, but disbelief will not protect you.
Your pride is a shield with too many holes. Here, your eagle is just metal, a symbol of arrogance that led Varus to doom. You are guests in a tomb of your own making. The dead care only for their pain, and they will share it with you.
Gracchus quietly made an offering to the spirits, a desperate hedge against the darkness. The younger soldiers, raised on Roman invincibility, felt their fear warring with pride. Eric's words seeded doubt and discord among the men. The squad's discipline began to fray, the forest's power working its way into their hearts. The line between superstition and reality blurred. The dead were not the only threat. Their own fear was just as dangerous. The forest waited for them to break. The first attack came without warning. One moment the forest was still. Only the crackle of dying embers and the distant hoot of an owl broke the silence. Then the mist thickened, swallowing the camp in a suffocating shroud. Shadows twisted between the trees, and the air grew cold enough to bite through armor. The campfire had dwindled, and a deceptive quiet settled over the forest. Every sound seemed magnified. The snap of a twig, the rustle of unseen movement. Fear crept in, silent and relentless. Gracchus on watch let out a choked cry, his voice barely more than a gasp, strangled by terror. Figures emerged, legionaries but not alive. Their forms flickered, half real, half shadow, drifting between the trees as if the mist itself had given them shape. Their armor glowed with spectral light as they moved in eerie silence. The air hummed with unnatural energy, and every step they took left frost on the ground.
Form testudo, shields up. Hold the line.
The living scrambled to obey, locking shields as terror threatened to overwhelm them. Their breaths came in ragged gasps, eyes darting to every flicker in the mist. The world shrank to the circle of their shields, and the nightmare pressing in from all sides. The Shade's weapons hissed through shields, draining strength and courage. Each blow sent a chill through the men, sapping their will to fight. Swords swung through mist, steel was useless. The dead could not be cut, could not be stopped by mortal hands.
Voice shaking. The fire, it burns too bright, but maybe the salt. Take this.
The salt struck a shade, sizzling as it touched spectral flesh. The apparition recoiled, its form dissolving with a silent shriek before vanishing into the mist.
Did you see that? The salt, it works. We can fight them.
The fire. They fear the light. And the salt. Throw salt, quickly.
Fire and salt became their only defense. The flames cast wild shadows, and every handful of salt brought a moment's reprieve from the relentless dead. The desperate squad fought through the long, terrifying night, using fire and salt to keep the vengeful dead at bay. Every moment was a battle against fear and the impossible, as the mist writhed with the restless spirits of the fallen. Dawn brought a temporary reprieve. The spectral legionaries faded, leaving only a chill and the stench of old sorrows. 2 men, Marcus and Gaius, were dead, not from wounds, but from terror. Their faces were twisted in fear, their bodies untouched by blade or spear. Publius, gravely wounded in the night's chaos, succumbed to his injuries as the dawn broke. His blood stained the earth, a silent testament to the price already paid. Now, only a handful of us remain. Myself, Centurion Decimus Varro, Lucilla Severina, Aelius Gracchus, Eric, and our scout. The rest, Marcus, Gaius, and Publius, are gone, lost to terror and wounds.
Our weapons are useless. We are fighting the memory of an army, the ghost of Rome itself.
I can't stay here. We should leave now before it's too late. Let me go. I want no part of this curse.
Eric, you know something. You're not leaving until you tell us what you've seen.
If you know the source of the Legion's power, you must speak. Lives depend on it.
It's the altar. Deep in the woods. That's where the curse comes from. I saw it. Bones, blood, and something older than Rome.
Then that is where we must go. We cannot leave our brothers to this fate. We owe it to them to find peace.
This curse is a wound upon the land. To leave it is to abandon not just our dead, but our humanity. We must break it for the sake of the souls trapped here, and for our own.
Gracchus's demand for truth and Lucilla's call for compassion forced Eric to reveal the altar's secret. The living, Varro, Lucilla, Gracchus, Eric, and the scout, stood together, the last survivors of their squad. The squad would not retreat. They would face the heart of the curse. The cost would be high, but honor demanded it. The forest's grip tightened as they pressed on. The living and the dead were now bound by a single purpose: release. The squad's fear became determination. The final confrontation awaited. The fate of the lost legions and their own souls hung in the balance. The forest watched, silent and expectant. Redemption or damnation would be decided at the altar of bones. Guided by Eric, the survivors pushed deeper into the forest, arriving at a clearing dominated by a horrifying altar made of Roman bones. Atop the altar rested the ghostly image of a Roman eagle standard, weeping spectral mist. The ground was a mass grave, thousands of skeletons intertwined in a tableau of battle.
Stop. Beyond this point, the veil is thin. The dead remember. Step lightly or their wrath will awaken.
What do you mean, Eric? What are we walking into?
The altar is hungry. It demands a reckoning. Only those who face their sins may pass.
There's no turning back, they're all around us.
As they approached, spectral figures emerged. Hundreds, then thousands, the entire ghostly army of Varus. They formed silent ranks, eyes burning with eternal rage.
The Primus Shade judges all who trespass. Speak only truth, or be lost among the bones.
Then let us face what waits. We have come too far to falter now.
He raised a spectral gladius, and the ghostly army mirrored him, a silent threat of annihilation. The living Romans faced the embodiment of betrayal and pain. The air was thick with anguish, the whispers now a deafening chorus. The squad stood at the heart of the curse, surrounded by the dead. The final ritual would decide the fate of all. The moment of reckoning had come.
The ritual requires a willing sacrifice. A Roman leader must offer himself to sever the curse. We learned this from the writings hidden in the ruins, the words of those who first bound the legion.
Lucilla and Varro had spent nights poring over ancient scrolls and inscriptions, piecing together the ritual from fragmented accounts left by survivors of the first massacre. The curse was born of betrayal. Only a leader's sacrifice could undo it. The scrolls spoke of a blood price, a leader's heart freely given to break the chains of vengeance. Varro met her gaze, calm. He saw not enemies, but his own countrymen, lost to pain.
When it is done, I'll lead them out. Don't look back.
Varro drew his gladius, ready to pay the price for Rome's failure, just as the ancient text demanded. As Lucilla chanted the words of unbinding, Her voice echoed the incantations preserved by those who had witnessed the curse's birth. Varro walked to the altar. The spectral legionaries watched, their hatred wavering.
You wear the crest of a centurion, you who abandoned us.
I am Decimus Varro. I have come to bring you home. Rome has not forgotten you.
As Lucilla's chant reached its peak, Varro plunged his gladius into his heart, fulfilling the ritual described in the forbidden texts. A brilliant white light erupted, washing over the clearing. The Primus Shade screamed, not in anger, but in release. The ghostly soldiers lowered their weapons, their forms fading as the curse broke. The dead found peace at last. The living were left in awe and grief. As Varro fell, the curse shattered. The spectral legionaries faded into motes of light ascending into the sky. The oppressive cold lifted, the forest was silent and peaceful for a heartbeat, but then shouts echoed through the trees. Enemy warriors drawn by the chaos surged from the shadows, weapons raised.
Move, we must go now, they're right behind us.
Gracchus pulled Lucilla to her feet as arrows thudded into the trees nearby. They fled the clearing, pursued by vengeful foes and the lingering dread of the supernatural. The woods were no longer menacing, but danger pressed close behind. The path was clear, the mists gone, but every step was a desperate race for survival. The land itself seemed to breathe a sigh of relief as the survivors broke free from the forest's grasp. They reached the Rhine as dawn broke, the sun casting golden light over the landscape, the sounds of pursuit finally fading. They had not reclaimed the land, but they had reclaimed its honor. The survivors were few, but they carried a story of redemption. The cursed legion was no more. The story of Decimus Varro and his squad became a quiet legend on the Rhine frontier. Those who survived the horrors of Teutoburg returned changed, haunted by what they had seen, yet bound together by a silent understanding. Officially, the mission was a success. The supernatural disturbances ceased, and the honor of the lost legions was satisfied. But for the survivors, the victory was bittersweet, marked by memories that would never fade.
Lucilla's report, edited by the Senate, spoke of a local plague and a tribal uprising. She omitted the truth, but her eyes betrayed the weight she carried. The truth was too dangerous for the official annals. The survivors bore it in silence, their nightmares unrecorded.
The Teutoburg forest remained a symbol of Roman failure, a line never again crossed for conquest. For those who survived, it was a place of ghosts, both real and imagined. The names of the lost legions were struck from the rolls, never reformed. Yet among the survivors, their memory lived on, etched in scars, whispered in prayers. The Rhine became a permanent frontier, a wall of forts and psychology. The men who returned brought with them a caution that shaped Rome's future, an unspoken warning passed down through generations. Today, the forest stands as a witness to history, a reminder that some wounds transcend the physical world. The legacy of the survivors endures not in glory, but in the lessons learned and the memories preserved. Rome learned a harsh lesson. Some places and some memories can never truly be conquered. The survivors' courage and pain became part of the land itself, shaping the fate of empires and the hearts of those who followed.